Lee on the south side with their all-white uniforms, red numbers, the red helmets. Kimball with their purple uniforms, the white numbers, and red trim. Here's Matlock with the kick, pretty deep. And this is Gibson at about the goal line. Make it the 2 to the 5. At the 10, 15, just outside the 15-yard line, and a very nice job defensively for Lee on the coverage. Tackle made by Skylar Talley and Trevor Pugh. Up front for Robert E. Lee and Christian Banks, who I bump into when I go to Brookshire's, was there as well. Up front for Lee, they're going to switch some things around, but they start with Ralston Dews and Mark Brotherton at tackle, combined over 600 pounds. Jermel Jones and Simon Blaylock, the defensive ends. Safety is Maurice Hood. Also, one of the other up front rovers is Junior Kane. The corners are Josh Aubrey, Kedrick Williams, and Nathan Yost and James Ellis. Actually, Matt Monagle, one of the starting inside linebackers. Lee with a 4-man front. Shotgun Gibson. He'll take the first snap, run it off left tackle, breaks a tackle outside the 20, close to a first down at the 22-yard line. Jordan Aubrey makes the stop. Check that. Josh Aubrey makes the stop for Robert E. Lee out to the 26-yard line and a gain of 10 yards and a first down. That's what they're going to do if Gibson's the quarterback.
Well, he's very versatile and very talented. He just takes a direct snap and falls to the left side behind Robertson and Peoples and picks up a nice gain.
So Lee continuing to try to find matches. Their secondary now, Jordan and Josh Aubrey are back in. The safety, of course, Maurice Hood, the senior. He's a really good one. Spread offense. Shotgun Gibson. Wants to throw, now wants to run. He's cut off at the line of scrimmage, now steps back across, should be intercepted, and overshoots his intended receiver, the tight end Davion Green. Almost picked off. Looked like that was going to go straight to Maurice Hood or to Kedrick Williams. And, boy, you saw the nifty feet that time of the quarterback, Tayshawn Gibson, 2nd down and 10. Well, he's switching quite a bit. Fred Donnell back now in a defensive tackle as Ralston Dews, who's going to get some time on the offensive line tonight, is back out of the game. 2nd down and 10. Gibson in the shotgun with Jones right next to him. Gibson, a little wide receiver flare screen at the 25, and a great job defensively by Kedrick Williams, and Trevor Pugh shows some tremendous lateral speed and a pickup of just a yard out to the 28-yard line. It's now 3rd down and 9 for Kimball at their 28 line. This is 3rd down and 9. Kimball, they picked up 1 first down. They will send Tremont Robinson wide right, 2 receivers near side, Hampton in the slot. As we've just started Kimball with their opening drive. Gibson wants to run the quarterback draw. Dragged down, he breaks a tackle, leans out to the 36-yard line, but short of a first down. He broke the initial tackle at right about the line of scrimmage. Mark Brotherton eventually, along with Chris Dinkins, the sophomore, and Lee is already shifting a lot of players, and Kimball has what appears to be a very good mark out to the 37-yard line. They'll bring out the sticks. Boy, that should have been nothing, but Gibson breaks the tackle out close to the 37. It looked like he was down at the 36, but they'll bring out the chains to see if it's a first down.
Well, that was Mark Brotherton that he got away from initially.
Just missed tackles when you have a kid like Tayshawn Gibson. Looks like it's a first down, and that's a first down against the defense for a bad tackle. Missed tackle that time. You can't do it against an athlete like Tayshawn Gibson, or quite frankly, against anybody. 1st down and 10. Looked like Kimball was going to have to punt the football from basically about the 30-35-yard line, but Gibson again breaks the tackle, leans across the 35, and picks up 9 yards. He has 2 carries now for 19 yards. They'll go trip set to the far side, right just inside the right hash mark. To the right side, the wide receivers, Davion Green. Gibson in the shotgun from his 37. Jones right next to him, runs the option wide, pitches it wide. That is Jones, breaks the first tackle outside the 35 to the 40 and picks up 3 yards. Knocked out of bounds by Josh Aubrey, the junior. And I love the way those Aubrey kids run to the football, and they will smack you in the mouth. 9:50 to go in the opening quarter. We'll also update you when we can on the game between John Tyler and DeSoto, which is just right down the road from here. 2nd down and 7, same formation, triple receivers to the far side most every time. Slot receiver in motion, that's Hampton. Gibson will take the snap in the shotgun. He'll run a zone read, now wants to throw, now runs 40, 45, about 6-7 yards out, just outside the 45 to the 46. Matt Monagold and Trevor Pugh were there. Monagold had 6 tackles entering the game. Trevor Pugh, 11 tackles, 18 tackles, a fumble recovery, 2 block kicks, and an interception. And Gibson picks up 6 yards.
Well, he's forced to run the ball, and he's going to take a lot of the activity tonight. Obviously, he'll carry the ball 20 to 25 times, and he just totes the rock that time for a nice gain.
Third down and about a yard, just over a yard. DeMarcus Allen in the game now next to the quarterback, Gibson. You got a feeling this is going to be Gibson. Allen was leaning, and he gets ripped by Trevor Pugh. Trevor Pugh shoots the gap and makes yet another umpteenth big play defensively, and he went in unblocked.
Trevor Pugh is incredible.
Is Emery Morgan. Jamal Mitchell back to field the punt just outside the Lee 20, and again Lee defensively with a nice play from their senior linebacker, Trevor Pugh, who really just blew right through that gap. Good punt. Actually, no, he shanks it a little bit. Just depends on where it lands. It goes down inside the 30-yard line and goes out of bounds. He shanked it, goes out of bounds. Lee will get the ball at the 29-yard line with 8:19 to go. 28-yard punt by Emery Morgan. Here comes the Lee offense, and again the sophomore, Luke Wagner, who took a handful of snaps last week at the end of the game with Trinity when Brandon Rogers went out of the game. Offensive line, Trevius Jones at left tackle, 300-pound senior. Hunter Hogan, the guard, at 288 junior. The center is John Landis, 292 senior. At right guard, it's Ralston Dews, 343-pound senior, and Josh Osorio, a 270-pound senior, at right tackle. Offset I, in motion, the tight end is T.J. Jones. They go Mitchell, right tackle. He'll get a couple of yards, nudges it outside the 30, and gets 3 yards on 2nd down and 7 coming up for Robert E. Lee. And they are going to try to pound the ball. Ralston Dews, Randy, has been starting at defensive tackle. They have not had much success off right tackle on the right-hand side. They're going to switch things around a little bit, and they pick up 3 yards there.
Well, they're going to get the road grader in Dews to plow ahead so they can get 3, 4, and 5 yards to the right side when they need to tonight.
2nd down and 7, Robert E. Lee at their 32-yard line. They run the stretch. This is Day Brown, breaks the first tackle, but cut short of the 35-yard line. A gain of 3. Just make it 2. Dante Livingston, the junior, who kind of plays that outside linebacker on the strong side, has now made 2 stops in the first 2 plays. Up front for Kimball, McDuff, Wright, Robertson, and Moten are the defensive end to defensive end. DeMarcus Allen and Chris Gibson. This is a young man, 3-year starter, ranked number 75 in the area in the state of Texas, according to Rivals.com. Cornerbacks are Cordero Postel and Joshua Mosley. Tandy and Gibson. Gibson also, along with Gardner, rotate at safety on 3rd down and 5. The sophomore Wagner to Jamal Mitchell, and he will not have the first down. Short of the first down at the 37-yard line. DeMarcus Allen makes the stop. Pickup of 2, and it's 4th down for Robert E. Lee, a 3 and out.
Lee very, very conservative on the initial drive tonight, David. They're trying to get the ground game going to set up the pass, and we just see 3 straight running plays, and the Kimball defense rises to the occasion.
Sean Rainey averaging just under 42 yards a punt at 41.7, and this is going to be a game of field position, but Kimball wins the first battle, and Lee is wanting to pound the football. Tayshawn Gibson is back to field the punt for Kimball at about his 20. Rainey will take the snap from Brandon Cook. It's a good snap, and he turns it not quite over. Gibson calls a fair catch at the 25 and then runs with it outside the 30. Looked like he called a fair catch. Maybe I just missed it. And good field position for the Knights of Kimball at their 34-yard line. 37-yard punt for Sean Rainey. Tackle made by Ubong David. And Kimball will start at their 34-yard line. Their last possession, they had 1 first down and eventually had to punt. Jackson, the one who stirs the drink for Kimball, is number 7, Tayshawn Gibson. He'll take the shotgun snap, runs it off Darian Jones. Left tackle, first down outside the 45, or just shy of the 45, but a first down anyway. Maurice Hood makes the stop. So they ran the quarterback on the zone read most every time with the quarterback draw. That time they go to Jones, and he picks up 10 yards. Now split both directions, right in the middle of the field. Darrell Washington in motion, and this is Gibson to Jones again off left tackle. Brotherton was there. Got stacked up as well on the right-hand side by Aubrey, the 170-pound twin of Josh. Both juniors, both basically the same size. One of them, I was in the field house earlier this week. Pretty much one has a little bit of an edge, but you can't tell. You can't tell. 2nd down and let's say still 10 as Jones gets about a half a foot.
Well, they're both playing and they're both starting, David, and obviously to that far side of the field, the Lee right-hand side of their defense are going to be main components for the season are the twins.
Jordan splits far side. Junior Kane back in the game for Robert E. Lee. He's on this side right behind Trevor Pugh, 4-man front. Gibson runs the option, pitches it wide to Jones. He has the corner. Does he turn it or does? But it's a flag down at about the 45-yard line. Junior Kane makes the stop for Robert E. Lee, but this one's coming back. Looked like the center that time, Jeremy Carranza. Oh, no, actually, it's Darius Walker, the 320-pound senior, out in space who held Simon Blaylock. And the first down run appears to be coming back. Just depends on the call from the sideline. Second down, 21 for Kimball at their 34-yard line. The snap to Carranza to Gibson. Gibson runs the zone read up the middle, has room, 40, 45, gets most of it back out to the 46-yard line. Chris Dinkins, the sophomore, and Maurice Hood, and we've called the safeties quite a bit, and defensive backs. We have only called one or two linemen so far tonight, making a tackle and a gain out to the 47-yard line and a gain of 12 yards.
Well, I'll tell you what, they get a
15-yard mark off. It is still 3rd and 8 for Kimball from their 47-yard line. 4:13, clock in motion. Washington in motion far side. Gibson in the shotgun. Little fade, now wants to throw it this side. This is Jones at the 45 and runs right into the safety. Maurice Hood, who did a great job. He did not fool anybody with the pump fake to the left side, and Jones gets just a yard out to the 47-yard line. It's 4th down for Kimball. Maurice Hood, great play, Randy.
Yeah, great play.
Emory Morgan. Jamal Mitchell stands at his 20-yard line. 3:35 to go in the first quarter, no score. Kimball with a snap to Morgan. Pretty good pressure by Pugh, and I think he partially blocked it. Ball hits at the Lee 35 down inside the 30, and the ball wiggles down to about the 26. I don't know. Jamie Lent, you're down there. Did you hear a thump? It looked like he may have got just a hand on it.
Yeah, I don't think so, David. He got close, but I think it was just a poor punt and went off the backside of his foot, and that's why it took a funny trajectory up in the air.
Okay, yeah, it just kind of looked like initially, but I didn't hear the thump. Normally when there's a block, you're going to hear that double thump of the foot, and then whoever may have blocked the punt. So here comes the sophomore, Luke Wagner, back in the game, and Robert E. Lee on this possession will have split backs with Day Brown and Jamal Mitchell. Boy, the running game has really been stagnant. Mitchell has 43 yards on 17 carries. Day Brown has 102 yards, but just over 3 yards a carry. This is Mitchell, bounces outside and has nothing, lost a yard. Dante Livingston is having himself a first quarter for Kimball as Lee loses a yard on the little fullback wham. Sumped on John Tyler 14-0. That game in the first quarter, about what, Randy, 10 miles from here or so?
That's about right.
2:47 to go. Lee with a 2nd and 11. Wagner flipped back to Day Brown, tries to bounce outside and runs right into his own offensive lineman and gets back to the line of scrimmage. And just like the first week and just like last week, unfortunately, Robert E. Lee wanted to pound the rock tonight, and so far the running game has not been able to get on track. Cordero Postel, the senior cornerback, makes the stop. And Kimball knows there's a sophomore quarterback, but the one thing that what Mike Owens and Dow Wynn did not want to do offensively was put his young quarterback in 3rd and longs, especially deep in their own territory.
Well, and it's happened on both possessions so far in the game, and they'll probably keep it on the ground again to try to keep and maintain field position as it is.
Runnels and Oliver split to the far side. Wagner runs the fullback counter, and Jamal Mitchell out to the 30-yard line for a gain of about 4, and that is it. And we'll see Sean Rainey again. And guess who made the tackle? Dante Livingston, the 6-foot, 180-pound junior, as Mitchell picks up 4 yards out just outside the 30. Well, running game, they made some changes on the offensive line, just trying to figure out. And of course, when you do that, sometimes the execution's not quite there. Kendrick Spencer not available tonight, it doesn't appear. Belantre Guster will also be a part of that rotation on the offensive line. Rainey takes the snap over his head. Uh-oh. This happened to Kimball last year, and Rainey will pick it up and run into the back of the end zone. That happened against Kimball last year, and Kimball leads Robert E. Lee on a special teams mistake. It's not the first one this year against the Red Raiders. 1:19 to go in the first quarter. Kimball 2, Robert E. Lee nothing. Kimball's about to get the ball back, and we're back in 1 minute on News Talk 600 KTBB. We'll come back on the field, and it won't be the kicker, Matlock or Cleaver. It's Sean Rainey, who was expecting to punt the football just a second ago, but the snap from Brandon Cook sailed right over his head, and that's pretty high because Sean Rainey is a pretty big kid at 6'5". And he did the smart thing, Randy. He did not panic. He picked it up. The good news is it went back to the end zone, not inside the 5 or 10. Rainey with a high punt. Gibson will field at the 35, and now a whistle stops everything, and a flag from the referee on the other side of the field. This could be a delay of game, and it is. Oh, now he's got a punt from the 15-yard line. Rainey did not quite turn that over. DeSoto has scored again on John Tyler, and the Eagles are salty at 21-0 first quarter. Gibson now, Randy, will be back at around his own 45-yard line, along with Darrell Washington, to field this punt. So if Kimball just catches it, if it's a good punt by Rainey, they're going to be near midfield to start the drive. 1:19 to go in the opening quarter, 2-0 Kimball. Rainey, oh, he just turns it over, rocket shot. Gibson catches at the 25. Nice kick, Rainey. Gibson, can he break the tackle? He does not at the 40-yard line. Great coverage downfield by Matt Johnston, the tight end. Normally was there for Robert E. Lee. Christian Banks and Key Oliver, a wide receiver. Sorry about that. I saw 40. It was 50. 55-yard punt by Rainey and a 14-yard return by Tayshawn Gibson. Kimball starts the drive inside Lee territory with any kind of a decent run back, and it was, but because of the bomb from Rainey, they start at the 40. Gibson rolls to the near side, now wants to throw, man wide open, and undershoots a wide open receiver. He had two receivers open, Darrell Washington, who was the near receiver at the 45, and Davion Green, as they flooded the zone that time, Randy, and Lee got pretty fortunate because that ball was underthrown, second down. 10, Gibson ran to the near side. Lee came up to try to stop him, as you mentioned, but they left the receiver open. In the shotgun from his 40, 2-0 Kimball. They run it to Jones off left tackle, bounces away. Not much there. Nice job defensively. Jordan Aubrey, the safety, makes the stop at a gain of just 3 for Darian Jones, and this would be a heck of a defensive stand for Robert E. Lee. Donnell comes out, nickel defense comes in, Jason Runnels in defensively as well for Robert E. Lee.
You have to give credit to Brotherton on the play, David. He got in the backfield, forced Jones off his track a little bit wider, and then several of his teammates came in to help wrap up on the short gain.
Jones 4 carries, 16 yards. Christian Banks is in at left defensive end. 3rd and 7, Kimball, 4 receivers set, Gibson shotgun. Snap, zone read, now wants to throw, pump fakes, in trouble, now tries to get away, has room on the left sideline, gets a first down at the midfield marker. Trevor Pugh knocks him down, but it looks like he has the first down. Boy, he put a juke on somebody at about the 45-yard line, and it was Vince Young-esque. And he has the first down at midfield.
Unfortunately, it was Christian Banks that looked like it got shocked out of his shoestrings, and he lunged for him and missed him. He rolled far side, and Trevor Pugh comes from the near side hash across the field, following the quarterback, and brings him down at midfield.
New quarterback has come in the game. This is Joshua Gardner, who's known to throw the ball more. Christian Banks is out, and Simon Blaylock is back in the game. But that little chop step, and that should end the first quarter, and it does. They won't have to move it very far. Our score, Kimball 2, Robert E. Lee 0. We're back in 60 seconds on News Talk 600 KTBB. And they had 123 yards offensively and won 36-0. Right now,
they're in the hole.
Right now they have minus 19 yards offensive. DeMarcus Allen is next to the quarterback, who's Joshua Gardner. Lee looks like they're going to bring a linebacker. They run it to Allen for 4 or 5 yards out close to the, up down to the 45-yard line. Now, Simon Blaylock makes the stop for Lee. Watch where they mark it right outside the 45. So a gain of 5 yards. Allen, who also plays a little defense, picks up the 5-yard mark off. Here's Dal Jordan, splits far side. Washington and Gibson now is checked in at wide receiver. Watch this on the left-hand side, Randy, matched up with Josh Aubrey. Gardner runs Allen again up the middle, down to the 41-yard line. Picks up 4 more, and he's a hard-running kid. Maurice Hood with what has to be about his 5th tackle tonight, along with Belantre Guster, who's playing a little defensive tackle. They now bring Hunter Hogan in on 3rd down and a yard. And the Kimball offense with a 2-0 lead and the football at the Lee 41, third down.
And they like to run the ball off the left side, running the trap play from right to left as the back takes off from the right hash side to the left, and he picks up a nice gainer again.
Allen right next to Gardner. Gardner a little bit bigger than Gibson, but not quite as athletic. Lee brings the corners this time, and they knock him down short of a first down. It depends on the mark. From the near side, the mark is a first down. On the far side, the mark is short of the 40. Oh, they're going to give him the 39-yard line.
Incredible.
Trevor Pugh makes the stop, and Jay Law is furious on the far side as he's just inside the 40-yard line. That's a first down. Down for Kimball, just inside the Lee 40-yard line. Gardner is now out, and Tayshawn Gibson is back in. Gardner's in the slot to the near side. Gibson takes the snap, rolls to the right. Wants to throw, running out of room, now wants to cut it back this way, now in trouble, goes down at the 43. Ball comes loose, but he's down at the 43-yard line, and I'm just going to guess that Trevor Pugh was involved. Jamel Jones, the 185-pound senior.
And Simon Blaylock forced him back inside. He was the lead tackler on the way, but he caused the quarterback, who was looking for a receiver downfield. And great coverage on the outside as well by Kedrick Williams on the far side of the field as his receiver was covered up, and Lee makes a nice defensive play in a loss.
Blaylock comes out of the game. Christian Banks back in the game. They keep rotating, trying to find some formula here, some chemistry here. Junior Kane is in at that rover to the near side, the weak side. Second down and 13. Gibson back into quarterback again, lost 3 right there. He wants to throw the sideline slant pass, incomplete. Here comes a flag as Aubrey looked like he had tremendous position on the inside of the receiver, Tremont Robinson, but the flag comes immediately from the line judge on this side, and it's going to be an automatic first down. Looked like that actually Aubrey was more the intended receiver, but the flag comes down, and this is going to cost Robert Ely a first down, and not a very long penalty, only about 5 yards, but the ball now is at the Lee 36-yard line. With Darian Jones next to him in the shotgun. They'll bring Gardner in motion. They fake it to Gardner. They take the quarterback. Gibson rolls it inside the 35 down to the 33-yard line. Jordan Aubrey was there in a pickup of about 3 yards. Down to the 33. Umpire will mark it. Just inside the 33. Looked like he had to the 33, picks up about 3.
And Kimball's offense is, they like running the ball, obviously, with the quarterback getting most of the carries. They like burning that clock, too, and they're accomplishing both at the moment in this game.
All right, Davion Green, Darrell Washington split far side, Gardner in the slot, along with Tremont Robinson. Gibson takes the snap. They run Jones off right tackle, and he has nothing there. Great job defensively for Lee up front. Matt Monagold was there. Dews helped block things up. So did Brotherton. Nowhere to go, and Blake Roberts was there as well. And it's a gain of 3 yards. Only a yard, if that much. And here's third down and 6. 1 seconds to go. First half, second quarter, Kimball 2, Lee nothing. We're back in 30 seconds on News Talk 600, KTBB. But anyway, they've had a couple of possessions, but both 3 and outs. And Kimball has dominated the time of possession. And Gardner comes in, so you know that most likely he's a thrower. He's thrown the ball 26 times compared to Gibson's 8. Jones right next to him. Gibson's in the slot to the far side near the Lee sideline. Gardner rolls to his right. Chased down by Banks, throws pass over the middle, incomplete at the 22-yard line. And Chris Dinkins, Jamie, if he's not there with contact, it might have been a juggle and a catch.
Yeah, that's a great play as Davion Green had his hand on the ball. He tipped it up in the air to himself, but Dinkins comes across and knocks him to the turf before he can pull that catch in. As you mentioned, that's definitely a first down if Dinkins doesn't get there to knock it away.
So here comes Emery Morgan in to attempt what should be a punt, but really at the Lee 32-yard line. You got to wonder about a possible fake right here, Randy.
It wouldn't be a bad idea to keep the ball and keep possession of the football, too.
Gibson's the up back. In fact, right behind the center. Maurice Hood is the safety about 15 yards, but they do snap it back to Morgan. A little pooch kick that will get a good bounce inside the 15. If Kimball can get to it in time, and they do, they down it at the Lee 4. Very smart job by Emery Morgan. 28-yard punt down inside the Lee 5. No return in the offense, which has had some problems so far, will come in with a 1st and 10 at their own 4-yard line, down by 2. Very well done. That was the perfect pooch kick. And the thing about it is, he didn't have that thing over 15 yards off the ground. Just a perfect pooch kick, not trying to nail it in the corner.
Well, he got a nice bounce and roll as it hit at about the 12 or 13, and then it rolls inside the 5, and he gets 2 of his players down there. One fell on it and stopped the movement of the football.
Robert E. Lee will take over at their own 4-yard line. Jamal Mitchell is the lone setback in the end zone. T.J. Jones in motion. Mitchell tries to bounce outside. Breaks a tackle. Nice tough run outside the 8 as he made a couple of guys miss, including Joshua Gardner. And Jamal squeezes out to the 8-yard line. Chris Moten was there. Gain of 5 out to the Lee 9. Boy, if they were to ever, and I hear the coaches, boy, if they could get some kind of drive going right here, sure would be nice to give Sean Rainey either some room or possibly come away with one of those memorable drives if something comes out of it. Mitchell with 5 carries, 13 yards. 2nd down, here comes a whistle, and the umpire has having trouble trying to throw a flag. He can't get it out of his pocket. Not sure exactly what it is. Is perhaps an illegal substitution or not? Yes, it is. Jamie Lent, did a Lee player come off late?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Joe Turner came to this far sideline. Y'all broke the huddle. He ran over here to the sideline. Looked like he was lining up as a receiver, but just ran out of the game.
I'm not one to talk, but the official, the umpire, could not get the flag out from under his belt because I think he couldn't find it. That's all I'm going to say. It was just something else he was having. It looked like, well, he's battling that gravity problem that I have myself. So they get 5 yards from Jamal Mitchell. And Randy, the summary of this offense, they lose it all back in a 5-yard. Too many men on the field. Late substitution. Day Brown, left tackle, 5, close to the 10. He gets about 6 or 7 on the stretch to the left-hand side. Chris Gibson. Listen to this guy, Randy. 6 foot, 225. He gets out to the 11-yard line, brings up 3rd and short. 133 tackles last year. 3-year starter. People that are looking at him include Notre Dame, and they need him. Florida, the defending national title holders. Arizona with Bob Stoops' brother Mike. Oklahoma and Nebraska. So 3rd down and 4 as Day Brown picks up 6 yards on the stretch play. From the 11, Wagner to Mitchell, off right tackle, nothing there, and they'll have to punt it again. There's Gibson again, the middle linebacker. Lee has not yet attempted a pass in this first half. 6 minutes, 21 seconds to go, clock running, 2-0 Kimball, and here comes Sean Rainey to punt.
I'd like to comment on Kimball's speed. They are way, way quick in the secondary. You can see every time the ball snapped, they're just lunging right at they're not even expecting Lee to throw the football. And Lee hasn't shown any propensity to do so yet.
4th and 2. Sean Rainey will have his feet right at the goal line. Brandon Cook this time a very good snap. Sean Rainey turns over a rocket shot. Gibson will catch back at his 35. Now try to settle. Gets away from the 40, midfield, down the sideline, tries to cut it back across the field. He's down at the 41-yard line of Robert E. Lee. A flag is down at the Kimball 38-yard line, which you would think would be any kind of a block in the back. Matt Monagold makes the stop for Lee, but it looks like this is going to cost Kimball another 10 yards back where he caught it. 54-yard punt. Sean Rainey, remember, on the safety, unloaded a 55-yard punt, Randy. That one right there was a rocket shot at 54.
Well, he has got a boomer. He's got that Shane Hudnall look to me. Hudnall used to really kick some real howitzers, and that one was so reminiscent of Lee's great punter back in 97 and 98 as he just nailed that one. And Lee catches a break with the penalty against Kimball as they'll start back deep in their own side of the field.
Cody Skate's pretty good punter, too.
Oh, yeah.
5 minutes, 41 seconds to go in the second quarter, and Kimball was about to start this drive in Lee territory, but Sean Rainey's rocket shot, 54 yards, plus a block in the back against Kimball, will cost the Knights 10 yards, and they will start the drive at the 30-yard line. And when Lee started their drive at their own 4, if you ask Mike Owens or anybody, would you like, if they start their next drive, it'll be back inside their 30, they would have taken that in an instant. Shotgun Gibson from his 30-yard line. Takes the snap, runs the option to the near side, now wants to throw. Now scrambles to the near side, tries to get away, and he gets knocked down at the 33-yard line. Does he really run? Don't you think he runs? It looks like the way he runs, the way he's tall, Mark Brotherton the stop, but he's got a little Vince Young in it.
Got a little bit. He's a little bit shorter, obviously. But
well, I'm not talking about the size. I'm talking about the style.
Right. It's very, very shake and bake and tries to get people to miss, and he does so greatly. He runs into the back of one of his own linemen on the play that really slowed him up as the center, Jeremy Carranza, was in the way and slowed him up and helped Lee out.
5:07 to go in the second quarter. Kimball 2-0 lead. 4 receivers set. Actually, just 3 to this near side tight end this way, so an unbalanced line on almost in a way the way they set it up. This is Jones off left tackle, bounces near the sideline, down to the out to the 38-yard line. Josh Aubrey, the cornerback, makes the stop at the 39-yard line, just shy of a first down. He got 4. In fact, give him 4 yards and a third down and a yard for Kimball.
Well, he makes a couple players miss as Lee pursues pretty good out to the outside, and Aubrey on the tackle had help also from Jermel Jones, who tried to get him at his ankles at first but just missed him.
They'll split 4 receivers, Gardner and Jordan to the near side, Gibson in the shotgun with Darian Jones, the senior, right next to him. On third down and a yard, here come the blitz off the corners. He breaks a tackle, first down, carries a Lee defender into Lee territory. Maurice Hood went for a ride, and that doesn't happen very often. Down to the Lee 48-yard line, and a gain of 9 yards on the quarterback draw.
He just cuts in behind the left side of his line. Robertson makes a nice hole up front, and he just does a lot of it on his own once he gets into the secondary. And as you mentioned, Hood had to ride him down. He went for a 4-yard ride.
Tayshawn Gibson has been the star of this game. Still 2-0. Jordan Aubrey has come out. Dinkins back in for Lee. This is the big banger. Marcus Allen hit by Fred Donnell at the 46-yard line. Got a couple of yards. Also, Jermel Jones was there. Got just 2. And Kimball, Randy, what is the time of possession? It has to be, there's 24 minutes and a half. There's 3 minutes to go, so there's 21 minutes of game time. Has to be somewhere like 18 minutes to 3, I'm just guessing.
Well, it's somewhere in that neighborhood. It's not quite that bad, but I will say Kimball's now run 25 offensive plays to Lee's 9.
That's the opposite of what a Mike Owens football team normally has. It's usually they're the ones controlling the time of possession. Second down and 8, Kimball at the Lee 46. Despite all this, it's still just 2-0. Gibson, high snap, now wants to run. Throws over the middle, pass caught and dropped at the 40 at the 37-yard line. That ball snapped very quickly back to Gibson, who did a nice job of finding it, juggling it, catching it, and then throwing it for what it should have been a first down, but it's incomplete. Davion Green flat just dropped it. Third down and 8, Kimball at the Lee 46. Brotherton and Donnell out of the game. Hunter Hogan in the game. It looks like Lee might go with a 3-man front on third down and long. Yost in the middle. Aubrey also sets up in the middle. Pugh on the outside. Hood and Kane are the safeties on the edges. Umbrella cornerbacks. Here comes Gibson. Fakes, draw, now wants to run. Tracked down at the 45-yard line. Jordan Aubrey. I tell you what, Jamie, I love the way the Aubrey kids play football.
Yeah, and they are both playing exceptionally well tonight, David. This kid is quick in the backfield, Gibson, and they have done a great job of forcing him outside, either out of bounds or back to the teeth of the defense, and both are racking up the tackles as well.
They and I was standing next to them in the field house when they were doing the weights. I couldn't tell the difference. I mean, they're identical twins. You couldn't tell the difference. One thing I can tell, Randy, is they both fly to the football. When they get there, they usually deliver some damage.
Put the hat on you, that's for sure.
Back to punt is Emery Morgan. High punt, very high punt. No one there to field it, bounces back. Lee's got to be careful not to let it hit somebody, and they do get out of the way at the 32-yard line, so not a very long punt at all. Just 14 yards, and with 2 minutes and 14 seconds to go in the half. Despite all of the ugliness, it is just 2-0 Kimball.
And the time of possession, David, almost 16 minutes for Kimball and just over 6 minutes for Lee in the first half. A 10-minute advantage nearly, and about an 18-play offensive advantage as well for Kimball. And the score is just 2-0.
So do they unleash the sophomore, Luke Wagner? His first ever start. Day Brown is the deep back. Mitchell's the offset eye up back. From the 32, here comes Wagner. Could be his first varsity pass. Sideline pass, caught Jones. 45, how about the kid? His first ever varsity pass. Let him open it up, and he picks up a first down at midfield. T.J. Jones who's committed to play it. Stephen F. Austin picks up 14 yards, and it was a good read because that is a delicate pass to throw.
And he threads the needle and hits Jones, who's coming from right to left across the field, and he's wide open. He has a defender beat by a couple yards and a nice completion.
Kind of a little seam pattern on the far side. Now Wagner in the shotgun at midfield. Up back is Mitchell. Wagner steps up in the pocket. Now wants to throw a deep sideline pass, tipped and incomplete through the hands of Ronald Callaway. And Wagner, hey, they haven't been able to give him much room running the football, but Jones and Hogan, Landis, Dews, and Spencer just gave him a bunch of time to throw the football. He had a chance to step up 2 or 3 times at second down.
Yeah, and he does a great job of noticing that, and he comes right inside the pocket and almost gets to the line of scrimmage before he releases the ball, and has a nice delivery as well.
Minute 45 to go. Day Brown now 5 receivers set here. 3 near side, left hash. Wagner wants to set up a middle screen. Day Brown over the middle, caught it. 45, first down, 40. Gets a block, down to the 35, 30. First down, 29-yard line. And somebody threw a heck of a block. Jamie.
Yeah, David, we've heard about the arm strength of Mr. Wagner, but a great job there of putting a little touch on the ball. The defensive line had that one sniffed out. They knew the screen was coming. He saw the defender right in the middle of the field, dropped it right over the top into the waiting arms of Day. Perfect pitch and catch there.
And Jamie, very patient, had to let everyone clear. Kimball has called a timeout, I believe, or maybe it's Robert E. Lee. It is Kimball calling timeout. Nope, check that. Robert E. Lee calls a timeout with 1:36 to go in the first half. Called back. Now Callaway does step to the line of scrimmage just in time. Wagner rolls left. Sideline pass. Caught at the 30 and dragged down right there. Short gain for 2. Minute 28 to go. Still a lot of time left. James Tandy was there. The safety. Now Lee will call a timeout. And I believe that was Key Oliver on the catch, but just a yard.
That shows the arm strength of the quarterback Wagner as he threw the ball across his body, across the field, and threw a laser beam along the sideline, a good 18 to 20 yards across the field to make the completion, David.
Jamie, was that Oliver or Runnels? Key Oliver, sorry about that. Looks like Runnels has his jersey kind of tucked up where it looks like he's 15 as well. Second down and 9. Jamie led on the sideline, and all of a sudden a little energy for the Red Raiders as they've, for the first time tonight, gotten into Kimball territory. And it's behind the arm and the leadership of this sophomore. Coming in is Callaway from the sideline. He'll line up in the slot. Uh-oh, he's going to have to come off the field, and this is going to be another penalty, isn't it? And it is. 5-yard. Boy, I tell you what. Callaway came in, ran over to where you would normally line up at about the left tackle position. And now let's remember, Brian Rogers, the senior, is out of the game, is not playing tonight because of a hamstring injury. So they're one short there. But that's going to cost Lee 5 yards back to the 34-yard line, which also could, although Cleaver had the 45-yard field goal, we have to start looking at the possibility of what they have available for a field goal with 1:23 to go in the half. Lee will have second down and 14. Too many men on the field is a 5-yard penalty. 2 receivers, Turner near side with Runnels. Oliver far side. Shotgun Wagner takes the snap from Landis, sets up the screen again, and incomplete intended for Jamal Mitchell, and there was all sorts of traffic right there at the line of scrimmage on the left-hand side. Third down and 14.
And it almost hit the body of Dews, who was going to lead the way for the block on the screen pass, and the pass was a little too hard that time, and it almost hit Dews as he sprawled on the ground trying to block a defender coming up the middle, and Benny Wright.
1 minute, 18 seconds left, first half. Kimball 2, Robert E. Lee nothing. Lee with a 3rd and 14. You wonder if you just try to get a little bit here. Again, Lee has problems with what receiver should be on the line of scrimmage. Here comes Wagner, wide receiver screen. Runnels, nothing, lost 3 yards. There is mass confusion on where the wide receivers are trying to line up. We had Callaway, who almost didn't get up to the line of scrimmage in time. He did. The official kept waving him up. Then he was too many men on the field, illegal substitution. And then Runnels, even before that play, signaled to the sideline that he didn't know if he should move up to the line of scrimmage. And what looked like a promising drive has been blown up because of penalties and miscommunication. And it's 4th down and 18. Rainey comes in to punt. Runnels lost 3 yards on the catch.
He's going to let the play clock go down very wisely as the
should go down to 10 seconds in the game. 20 seconds on the play clock. 30 seconds left in the first half. In fact, not only they should just let it go all the way down to 0, take a 5-yard penalty because they're punting right now from the Kimball 38. Boy, that's a disappointing ending to a promising drive that was down to the Kimball 30-yard line. In fact, just inside the 30, Randy, when Oliver caught the little 2-yard pass. 4 seconds. This is going to take it down to about 2 seconds. And it stopped with 2.4 seconds to go. So all Rainey needs to do is take the snap and basically just take a knee after running 2 or 3 steps, and that would end the first half. You know what was weird? There was 30 seconds on the game clock.
They reset it.
Oh, okay, Jamie. They reset the clock. Okay.
There was 50-something seconds when they ran
that's
on the field.
That's a fast game clock right there.
Well, we see a glimmer of what this young quarterback has, and if they throw the ball down the field, I think we're going to see some success.
So now Lee is thinking about taking those 2 seconds and maybe just heaving one downfield to one of the receivers. Got pretty good speed with Key Oliver and Brian Runnels and Joe Turner. Referee will mark it off with delay of game. Daryl Jordan, the head coach, he's very upset on the near sideline. Robert E. Lee now will, on 4th down with 2.4 seconds to go, possibly try to do something with this. 2-0. Randy, when was the last time? The Temple game was low scoring to start the season a few years back, but 2-0.
We've never had a 2-0 halftime score, obviously, but I think you're probably 6-3 in that Temple game, or 6-0.
Temple
scored early, so I don't think Lee had any points in that first half, but that's been 8 years ago.
The JT game when Jimmy Gamble went 70 yards was no score at halftime.
Right. It's the last one.
And then the run, Jimmy run. 70-yard touchdown run in the mud. 2.4 seconds to go, and I have no idea why there's confusion with the game clock.
You'll put time back on the clock.
I was right. There were 20 seconds to go. They reset it in the middle of the play clock, Randy and Jamie. That's what you said, and they shouldn't have done that for some reason. So now Lee will have to punt the ball with 13.4 seconds to go in the first half. Well, let's see. Minus 7 yards rushing because whether you agree with it or not, the 30-yard punt that Sean Rainey had to go field back in the end zone goes down as a statistic. It all has to equal 0. So that's minus 30. Otherwise, they have 23 yards on all the other carries with Mitchell and Day-Day Brown. Luke Wagner, they finally gave him a chance to show his stuff. 4 for 6 passing for 32 yards. So right now, Robert E. Lee,
25 yards of offense.
Woo.
Sterling.
And Rainey will set the punt. The ball will be snapped at the Kimball 43-yard line. Boy, you never would have just thought, stay at the 30 and give Cleaver a chance for a 47-yard field goal to somehow lead this game at halftime, but that didn't work out either. A pass for a yard and a pass for minus 3. Here's Rainey with a punt very high, and he kicked it straight up in the air. Hits at the 30, bounces back. Somebody from Lee needs to touch it because Kimball could pick it up with nobody in front of him. This is a bizarre first half that will end on that, what is 3-yard punt. Sean Rainey had punts of 55 and 54 yards, and his average just went straight down with that time a punt of 3 yards. Very fortunate that someone like Gibson didn't pick that thing up and run with it. Randy, I've done Lee football since 1991. There were some years, even Mike Owens' first year in 96 where they struggled quite a bit. And Biff Peterson had a couple of teams before he left that struggled quite a bit. But that might be the most difficult first half of offense that I've ever seen.
Yeah, David, it was very vanilla and plain until that last 2 minutes when they put the ball in the air and cause a little excitement and cause a little confusion to Kimball secondary too. And I'd like to see them put the ball in the air a little bit more here as we get the kickoff here.
Darius Dorsey and Chris Dinkins are the upbacks for Lee at the 20. Jamal Mitchell and Jack Jones are back deep. It's a kind of a pooch kick that Dinkins will catch at the 20. Looks for some kind of room at the 25, out to the 30. Nice job of avoiding a couple of tacklers, and tackle made by Jomo McDuff. For Robert E. Lee, the center is the senior John Landis. The guards are Hunter Hogan and Ralston Dews. Hogan the junior, Dews the senior. Trevius Jones and Kendrick Spencer. And Osorio plays a little right tackle. He'll start at right tackle. The seniors on the ends. T.J. Jones and Matt Johnston, the tight ends. Jones, the H-back. Receivers are Key Oliver and Brian Runnels, sometimes Joe Turner. Day Brown will start off in the on the sideline in the slot. He's in motion here, and Jamal Mitchell is the deep back. Mitchell off left tackle, first down 40, and he runs over somebody at the 42-yard line. It was DeMarcus Allen, and that is the best running play tonight, and a gain of 12. And I like what they did with Day Brown in motion.
Yeah, that seemed to cause a little bit of disarray for the secondary of Kimball, as you saw two of their players start to follow Day, and it caused a little bit of a shift, and Lee gets a nice push on their offensive front on the play.
Gain of 12 on first down with Jamal Mitchell. We've just started the third quarter. Lee at their 42-yard line. Tied into the near side, and the ball snapped, fumbled, recovered by Kimball, I think, at the 44-yard line of Robert E. Lee. Recovered by James Tandy, the safety, and any of the momentum on the 12-yard run is, well, that reminded me of the snap that Brandon Rogers lost against Lake Highlands. Everyone just kind of stood there, and Kimball with the ball at the 44-yard line. Oy vey. Wow. So the fumble snap, and Kimball recovers, and the first turnover of this game. And the Knights with the ball and a 2-point lead at the Lee 44-yard line. Three receivers to the near side. Gibson in the shotgun. Wants to throw a little wide receiver screen. Caught by Washington, and he's going backwards. This is an amazing play. If he gets loose, there's nobody else left to tackle him, but he loses 4 and give the Lee defense. Maurice Hood eventually makes the stop, but there's a player down for Lee, and that's Aubrey at the 47-yard line. They threw the wide receiver screen, and he had nowhere to go, and Lee hemmed him in, but Aubrey is down. It's Josh Aubrey at the 47-yard line on a loss of 5. Give him 6-yard loss, and the Lee defense sure impressive there with their containment, but we're back in a minute. There's a player down. Nope, Aubrey will get up. They say 170 in the program. Looks a lot bigger than that. So a loss of 6 on the first play for the Kimball offense. And they have minus yards passing now, Randy, of -4. And Washington really had no clue of where he was going. From the midfield mark, Gibson shotgun, 5 yards behind the center, Jeremy Carranza. Gibson throws sideline, pass caught by Davion Green, and tackled at the 42-yard line. Maurice Hood was there again, along with Trevor Pugh, gain of about 8 yards on the play. Kendrick Williams is in the area, 3rd down and 7.
That pushes them right back into positive yards passing the football. Lee just makes a great coverage play on the initial play, and right there, it's just a quick pass out to the flat, and the reception made by Kimball, and Lee's defenders are right on top of the play.
So a gain of 8. 3rd down and let's say 7. Shot clock. Play clock down to 2. Gibson throws that same wide receiver screen. This is Washington at the 40. Breaks a tackle, 1st down. Breaks another tackle, 30, down to the 27. Missed tackle by Aubrey allows him to skip inside the 30, continue the drive, and Trevor Pugh from the strong side, outside linebacker position comes all the way across the field to make the stop and a gain of 15 yards.
He just does a great job, does Washington, spinning, bouncing off of would-be tacklers, and he spun out of 3 or 4 tries by the Lee secondary and gobbles up another 8 or 9 yards after the first hit.
Trey Smith is in at corner for Lee on the near side, number 5. Gibson with a drive inside the Lee 30, outside the 26. Here comes the blitz. Gibson with a keeper up the middle. First down and more. Just shy maybe of a first down at the 20, down to the 17, close to the 16. And he was one more missed tackle away from scoring.
Well, Lee is really substituting a lot on defense. As you mentioned, several new faces in there, and some of them just for the first or second time of the game getting some action as Kimball drives inside the red zone.
And again, what they're doing is milking the clock. Lee had a drive, 12-yard run by Mitchell, then the fumble snap by Wagner. I've never seen so many fumbles that go 5 and 6 yards in front of the line. They're almost behind the line, and that's a great job by Kimball of recognizing it. There's a whistle, and I think a timeout for Kimball. 9:01 to go. Third quarter. It is Dallas Kimball 2, Robert E. Lee nothing. Kimball at the Lee 17 back in 1 minute. Including the Burger King player profile. Today's profile on senior center John Landis. Also the classic Toyota Mercedes-Benz Robert E. Lee greatest moments in Lee football history. 2002 win at Lufkin in the rain at overtime. Gibson on the play. This is the fullback. Allen bangs down close to the 10-yard line, which should set up first and goal, and a gain of 7. And Kimball with the lead with the ball and in control of the game, and Jordan Aubrey made the stop. Blake Roberts, the sophomore. Boy, he's a good-looking kid. I walked by him in the warm-ups. 6'3", 205, and there's a player down. That's Jordan Aubrey. Looks like it might be some cramps. So Lee right now also having issues with players having to come out of the game. Well, you're down 2-0 on the road. I know this team has had a lot of injuries, but somebody, and there have been some somebodies that have tried to make plays, Trevor Pugh, Maurice Hood, and others, somebody here has got to gut it up here and try to start making some plays on the defensive end, disrupting something, causing a fumble, creating a turnover, or a negative play. Gibson, zone read, quarterback keeper, nothing there. Jermel Jones was there, so was Matt Monagold. Check that, James Ellis, Brotherton, Hood, and that might be the start. No gain there for Gibson, second down and goal. Kimball with 8:30 to go in the third quarter with a 2-0 lead at the Lee 10.
And that is a good play for Lee's defense on the front. We've seen Gibson run and has success running to the left, David, but that time Lee's right side of their defense would have none of that.
So second down and goal. Play clock is down to 10 as Davion Green splits far side. In the slot is Darrell Washington. Play clock now at 4. Washington in motion. Gibson hands it off to Jones, and he gets blown up by Jermel Jones. Lost 5 yards on a little counter with the halfback, and Jermel, who had those 2 fumble recoveries. Hood and Ellis were there as well, and that is Robert E. Lee defensively, and there you go with a disruptive play, third down and goal at the 15.
Right on cue, they heard you, David, and 2 straight plays. They bottle up the first one, and that one, they're in the backfield as they run motion, and the quarterback, Gibson, hands it off to the tailback running to the left side. He gets bottled up and pushed back 10 or 15 yards as the whistles blow and a 5-yard loss.
Jason Runnels is in the game at right defensive end for Robert E. Lee. Third and goal, Kimball at the Lee 15-yard line. Not sure really about the kicking game that Kimball has. They've had 2 extra points they've missed. They have not kicked a field goal. Gardner, who likes to throw, is in the shotgun. Takes the snap, rolls to his right. Now in trouble, flushed out of the pocket, dragged down, throws the ball, intercepted and dropped. Trevor Pugh almost had the pick that would have stopped the drive. Very nice job. Robert E. Lee, was that Christian Banks on the far side that was dragging Gardner down with the back of the jersey? He tried to throw it, and Trevor Pugh dropped the interception, and Kimball, you would think, might just throw it up in the end zone somewhere on 4th and goal.
Yeah, and that's a great play. As you mentioned, Banks had him by the waistline and just could not bring him down. He flung the ball, but he threw it right at Trevor Pugh, and it probably shocked Pugh more than anything else. It bobbles off his hands and goes in the air, and a couple of Lee Red Raiders dive for it but can't get to it along the far side of the field. And here's a big play for Lee's defense to make a stop.
Davion Green and Washington far side. They'll have Gardner in the slot. Gibson the shotgun, Jones next to him. Washington in motion, third and goal. Gibson high snap, pump fake, throws it over to the right. This is Darian Jones, breaks a tackle. Here's a flag down. He is short of the touchdown. Dinkins with the tackle, but a flag came down as he busted loose. A hold as they, you know what? Let's talk about Christian Banks. Almost had the sack. Right there probably makes the play, but holding there. This flag is going to go against Kimball, and Lee will get the ball at around the 4-yard line. But the defense comes up with a big play.
Yes, they do, and they needed it. Looked like the flag is going to be on number 14, Davion Green, blocking the back or a illegal chop
Illegal
block.
shift.
Illegal shift.
And an illegal block in the back.
Okay.
So the penalties against Kimball. Darian Jones broke away because there was a hold occurring or a block in the back on Banks, but the Lee defense does come up with a stop, and Kimball, which started that drive on the Lee 44-yard line, comes away with no points. It is still 2-0 Kimball, and Lee now with their backs in the goal line at their own 4-yard line. Now, we talked about the defense, and they stood up. Jermel Jones, Trevor Pugh, Ellis and company, and then Christian Banks and a couple of others. Trevor Pugh. So now it's time for the offense. The offensive line with the left tackle, left guard, and center back from last year. Jones, Hogan, and Landis, and the others have got to take it upon themselves to give Wagner and his running back some room to run. Double tight set from the 4. Wagner runs the stretch, bounce outside. Day Brown cannot turn the corner, somehow stays on his feet and gets a couple of 3 yards. That's as tough a 2 or 3 yard run as you'll ever see. He lost his shoe. Out to the 7 and a gain of 3 yards.
It looked like he was going to be caught right at the goal line as he's running for his life. He just wiggles free and shoots off that would-be tackler for Kimball and cuts back inside and does a great job, as you mentioned. Great effort getting outside and then picking up a gain of 2.
Oliver and Runnels will split far side. The ball is at the 8-yard line, and Lee needs to take a timeout on 2nd down. Too many men on the field. The referee has also thrown a flag, but a timeout prior to when the flag came down. It all just depends on what they discuss. We will be back in 1 minute. 6:23 to go, 3rd quarter on News Talk 600. Oh, they're going to call the penalty anyway. Dead ball. Too many men on the field for Robert E. Lee. And that's going to cost them everything that Day Brown just picked up. And the miscommunication and the frustration continues. Jamie Lent.
Here's the problem that Robert E. Lee is having. That's the 3rd time we've seen that penalty for having too many men out there when they break the huddle. When Lee sends a substitution in, the huddle's not staying together long enough. So as the man tries to get to the outside and get out of bounds, the huddle's not staying together long enough. That's why the penalty comes in.
So a loss of 5 back to where they started. They run the stretch on the left-hand side, and there's not much there out to the 5. A gain of a yard or 2. Benny Wright, the right defensive tackle, makes the stop at 6'1", 280. He was an all-district player last year, as DeMarcus Allen part of the stop as well. Day gets 2. So 2nd down and 9 for Robert E. Lee with midway through the 3rd quarter, and Lee offensively has 2 first downs and no points.
Well, you got to give credit to Kimball's defense. They are very, very aggressive to the football, very quick. They have some great athletes on their defense.
Play clock is down to 10. Wagner looks at his wrist. They're not going to get this play off in time. 4 seconds. Usually a lot of pre-snap shifts. Wagner got the snap off just in time, hands it off. Nothing there for a yard or 2. And on 3rd down and 9, the scoreboard said 2nd down, but it was 3rd down. Mitchell got a yard, and the Lee offensive woes continue. Or the snap from Brandon Cook. Tayshawn Gibson is about midfield. Here's the snap. Rainey gets it. Line drive punt. Gibson should get great field position. Catches it, bobbles it at the Lee 45. Looks for a block, bounces outside, turns the corner, 35, and run down by Rainey, the punter, at the 30-yard line. And this field position is starting to wear out Robert E. Lee as they're at the Lee 30, and Sean Rainey with the punt, but also with the tackle. And Tayshawn Gibson right now is the difference in this football game. Even though it's 2-0, he is controlling the football game. 46-yard punt, 21-yard return for Gibson, who has 54 yards in punt returns in this game to go with his 63 yards rushing. Robert E. Lee has to run a player on at the very last second. That's Dinkins, a safety. In the shotgun is Gardner. Triple set near side right hash. 2-0 Kimball. High snap over Gardner's head. Depends on the bounce. Gardner will pick it up back at his own 48-yard line. This is an offensive nightmare for both teams. Fred Donnell gets credit for the sack and a loss of 22 yards against Kimball. It's now 2nd down and 32.
Wow. Both teams have had problems. Lee's on special teams, and that from the center exchange on the snap to the quarterback, and it flew right over his head. He couldn't get to it even if he leaped up. He's a little bit shorter than the other quarterback, Gibson, and now they're in the hole. This is where Lee now can assert itself and get a 3-and-out here and get better field position.
Cornerbacks. Kedrick Williams is not in the game. It's Trey Smith on the far side. Dinkins now the safety. Maurice Hood is playing a safety as well. Now a corner, actually, and here comes a flag down and too much time against Dallas Kimball. If it is here, it's 45-0 DeSoto against John Tyler. Joshua Gardner back in the quarterback is a shotgun. Another high snap, catches it, swings it out to Washington, looks for a block. Now in trouble and will be wrestled down at his 43-yard line, and that lost a yard. Chris Dinkins calling him a lot. Mark Brotherton, Fred Donnell, there as well. And so is James Ellis for Robert E. Lee. Craig Smoke helping us out. Spotting what's happening. Players coming in, players coming out. And boys, this is a big third down. I know it sounds silly, 3rd down and 37, but this is a field position play right here.
Oh, without question. Lee needs to keep them inside their own territory, and they're doing a good job of blanketing any kind of pass on the sideline so far for Kimball.
DeLeon Oliver is checked in at cornerback on the near side. Back in the shotgun is Gibson. Takes the snap, runs it to Darian Jones off left tackle, and he's wrapped up by Ellis. James Ellis got him by the ankles. So was Matt Monagold. Fred Donnell was there, along with a few others. And a nice job by the Lee defense, thanks to the bad snap. And Kimball will punt from their 46-yard line.
And Lee should get the best field position of the game, really, David.
Well, they should. They should. Jamal Mitchell back to hopefully field the punt. 2:30 to go, third quarter. Lee now with too many men on the field again, or mixture. Now DeLeon's going to cover up the gunner on the near side. 4th and 35 from the 45-yard line. Emory Morgan takes the snap. Lee tries to come after him, and they do, and knock him down at the 37-yard line. Guess who it was? Trevor Pugh. Emory Morgan bobbled the snap, and Trevor Pugh knocks him down at the 37-yard line. Randy.
Well, I'll tell you what, the snap was low. He bobbled it. He couldn't get the handle. And 2 Red Raiders, Pugh along with Brant Martin, number 60, also there to converge. And Morgan had nowhere to go, and he's knocked down. And Lee, for the first time all night, gets a possession starting in Kimball territory.
Lee had only 10 men on the field on that play. Maybe that's the key. Unbalanced line. Nope. Here's Wagner. Play action bootleg. Wants to throw. Now has to run. Now steps up. Now in trouble and sacked at the 45, a loss of 8. And everybody downfield. Day Brown was open deep on this side, but Wagner was rolling back to the other side, and Chris Moten sacks him for a loss of 8. And here's a flag. Nope. Second down. So Luke was running for his life.
Yeah, if this game could get any kind of flow to it, it really has no flow. If one team does something good, then a bad snap, and then a penalty. And right now, Lee has an opportunity, although they lost 8 on the play, David.
2nd down and 18. Wagner, play clock at 2. Bootleg again, sets up. He's got a man open. That's T.J. Jones. He's going to be intercepted by Kimball at the 15-yard line. He sailed it. T.J. was looking for it. And that thing looked like it was thrown right to the safety, and it was picked off by Kendrick Hampton. And Kimball dodges a bullet. 1:20 to go, third quarter, and Lee opened that drive at the Kimball 37, and the Knights defense comes up with the play this time. Wow. This is almost painful to watch. Young men, though, 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old kids, they're playing hard. Just a lot of confusion right now. And they almost ran basically the same format and scheme and play, I think, on that play than they did on first down when he was sacked. But that time, the interception. Here comes Gibson. He runs the quarterback draw, tries to bounce it outside, spins away. Donnell was there, as was Nathan Yost, and a gain of 4 yards. And now we're getting serious here. I know 1:10 to go in the third quarter, but with neither team offensively with much at all, time of possession, time left in this game, with the way this thing is flying, there aren't many opportunities left. Fred Donnell's checked out. Junior Kane comes in. for Robert E. Lee as they go with what looks like 5 defensive backs. Gibson has 67 yards on 14 carries. In the shotgun again, wants to throw. Has a man over the middle, now wants to run. Trevor Pugh throws a pass, caught, first down, 35, 40. Davion Green out to the 43-yard line. And Tayshawn Gibson just fooled the Lee defense, looked like he was going to run, found the tight end for a big gain out to the 42, gain of 25 huge yards.
Yeah,
So Kimball now has flipped the field position from their 42. Gibson runs it to Darian Jones. They try to chase him down at the 42, breaks a tackle down near the 48-yard line. Broke the initial tackle of Ellis. Maurice Hood was there to make the stop after a gain of 8 yards. Fred Donnell also in the neighborhood. Here comes Jason Runnels as Jermel Jones check out, and that's going to end the third quarter, and our score remains Dallas Kimball 2, Robert E. Lee nothing. Back in 1 minute on News Talk 600, KTBB. So we start the fourth quarter with Kimball on a second down and what is about 3 yards at their, well, just inside their own 49-yard line, right between the 48 and 49, the left hash mark. And the Knights, the only points are a bad snap, safety against Robert E. Lee, 2-0 Kimball, second down and 3, again just outside their 48-yard line. Gardner back in at quarterback, 3 receivers set. Lee brings the blitz. Gardner steps up, throws over the middle, pass tipped in the air and incomplete. Just out of the reach of DeLeon Oliver. Coverage that time. James Ellis with pressure. Christian Banks again with pressure. He's getting himself involved. Third down and 3 yards for Kimball.
What's happening here, David, let's look at something real quick. Both teams have played terribly in the fourth quarter in both of their first two games. As a matter of fact, Carter lost on the last play of the game. Kimball lost on the last play of the game to Carter, and then last week to Lufkin, they were dominating the fourth quarter, and Lee's had a terrible fourth quarter in both their first two games.
Against Lake Highlands and gave up the 14 points to Trinity in the loss last week, 21-10. Trevor Pugh brings the blitz, so does Robert E. Lee, and they got him. They stop him right at the line of scrimmage. Trevor Pugh forced the fullback or the up back to get him, and that allowed a jailbreak, and Robert E. Lee gets the sack. It is Fred Donnell. And even though he got maybe back to the line of scrimmage, he and Jason Runnels forced Gibson to come down, and the punt team, Emery Morgan, is in the game. He'll step back to around his 35-yard line.
Well, it forced him to do. It forced him to just freeze up, and he didn't know whether to run or throw, and he just had to tuck the ball and get what he could on a third and short.
Now see, Gibson's right behind the center here. This is fourth and short near midfield. They snap it to Morgan. He gets off a booming kick over the shoulder of Mitchell. Hits Mitchell, picks it up, and is going backwards. Now breaks a tackle at the 5, at the 10, 15, 20, and knocked out of bounds at the 22. Oh, what looked like a disaster. Jamal Mitchell comes up with a very nice job and gets out to the 22. He was about to be tackled near the goal line. And Lee will have pretty good field position after the 20-yard punt return after a 46-yard punt. Jamie.
David, we saw in that last possession, quarterback Luke Wagner throwing in the interception over here on the sideline during that defensive possession. A couple of those senior offensive linemen, Trevius Jones, John Landis, sitting alongside of him, patting him on the back, telling him we got your back. So you love to see the senior leadership there, keeping the kids' confidence up.
Well, absolutely, Jamie. Great job. That is obviously something that Luke Wagner appreciates. Luke Wagner, quarterback under center, runs the bootleg to the far side, throws sideline pass, is incomplete, intended for Oliver, who is open. He also had Mitchell, the up back. One of the coaching staffs, I think it was the Kimball coaching staff, to our left was trying to yell timeout, 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 but that ball goes incomplete, just short of Key Oliver, and it's now second down and 10. 10:57 to go in the game. It's 2-0 Kimball.
He might have been calling because there was no corner covering the receiver on that side. They had trips right and only had 2 defenders on that side of the field, and Oliver was open. The pass was just a little low and out of his reach.
Day-Day Brown checks in at the end. Runnels far side. Oliver near side. Tight end near side. In motion is T.J. Jones. They run Day-Day up the middle. Not much there. He does squirt out somehow to the 27-yard line for a gain of 5. He had 22 carries in his first game at Lake Highlands. Benny Wright with the stop. He had 11 carries last week against Euless Trinity, and tonight has 6 carries for 19 yards after the 5-yard pickup. Mitchell has 8 carries for 27. Wagner in negative yardage, as is Rainey. Vincent Yarbrough has checked in. Another player runs in from the sideline. That's the tight end, Matt Johnston. Stacked near side. This is a huge third down, folks. Reverse, Day Brown. Bounces outside. Flag is down. He didn't make it anyway. He was not even able to bounce it out. Flag came from the referee. He points to the sideline. Holding against Robert E. Lee. James Tandy made the stop. And even though they stacked it, Day Brown had no room to run, and Kimball's defense, with 10:14 to go, has given their offense what should be yet again great field position.
Well, a lot of the problem, David, is the substitution pattern is just in a great flux right now for Lee. They had 3 run off the field, and then one of them came back and only one other came on. I don't know if they even had 11 men on the field to start the play, and it really didn't matter as Kimball comes up with another big stop.
Robert E. Lee right now has 40 yards offense. 10 minutes to go. Rainey with the snap coming from Brandon Cook. Good snap, no pressure. Rainey turns it over again. Gibson back at his 25 will make the catch. Coverage at the 30, bounces outside, has room to run, has a wall. 40, 45, flag. Here comes a flag down. This is going to come back. Here's another flag. Gibson at the 25, cuts it back at the 20. All of this for naught. All of this for naught. Matt Johnson had a blindside hit back at the 30-yard line, but there are 2 flags, and Kimball, both of them, will bring back what is a spectacular return by the player of this game so far in Tayshawn Gibson. Johnston is down at the 38-yard line of Kimball as, not Johnson. That is Nathan Yost. He took a blindside shot. God, he's tough to get up because, he got earholed, and this is all going to come back against Kimball, which should move them back inside their 25-yard line. A 47-yard punt, 57 yards on the return, but this one is coming back.
Order like Coach Huffstickler and company and Coach Law is you send the pressure to the quarterback. As soon as he gets a snap, you have 22 in his face every single play. Every single play. Let's see pressure from the lead defense and cause some disruption and maybe get a turnover.
9 minutes and 43 seconds left in the fourth quarter, and it is still Dallas Kimball 2 and Robert E. Lee nothing. Kimball, nothing there. Quarterback draw out to the 18-yard line, and I like this sophomore kid, Blake Roberts. Simon Blaylock was there. We've also talked about Christian Banks a lot. There's been a lot of players that have stood up tonight, got no yards, second down and 10.
Lead defense does it there again, and I'll tell you what they just need to happen is make it a 3rd and long because Kimball is not a very good passing team, obviously. Here's the big play of this current drive, David.
DeSoto 52, John Tyler nothing to start the third quarter. 3 receivers set. Gardner the quarterback. 4-man front for Robert E. Lee. Gardner throws the wide receiver screen at the 20, close to the 25, and very close to a first down. Boy, that's a killer. That's a heck of a block. Somebody threw a great block behind the line of scrimmage. Simon Blaylock was there, but that should be a gain of 8 yards. Gain of what could be 10 yards. It's a first down out to the 29-yard line. Very well executed play on a night when nobody offensively has executed very much.
As you mentioned, and that is a good block. And it's Darrell Washington who cut back inside from his wideout position on the near side of the field and blocked down on Blaylock. I think he took out another Red Raider, too, with a nifty block.
Green has been very busy. Kimball now has the clock under 9 minutes. They have a first down at their 29. Green now to the near side. Shotgun is Gardner. 4 receivers set. Lee with a 4-man front. They run the fullback. That's Allen. Hits at the line of scrimmage. Breaks a tackle. Runs over a couple of Red Raiders. And a gain of 6 yards on what looked like a gain of 2 or 3. Mark Brotherton was there. Hunter Hogan was there.
And James Ellis was the first to hit him.
And Roberts again. Right, second down and 4. Lee defensively has played every way they can. Now they cannot give up any kind of sustained drive with 8 minutes to go. The band trying to play that theme that we've heard from the years of when they used to make deep runs in the playoffs. Second down and 4. Allen picked up 6 yards. Shotgun is Tayshawn Gibson from the 35. Takes it, wants to run his own play, breaks a tackle, first down 40, gets into the secondary at midfield, and Kimball has a first down and a gain of 15 yards. And the Lee defense starting to look again. They've been on the field all night long. Maurice Hood makes the stop, and that time he just made a great run.
Yeah,
Convert the extra point would be deadly for Lee because it would make it 9-0. But they're still not there. Midfield, Kimball first down. Clock runs, 7:22 up 2-0. Gardner wants to run the quarterback keeper. Not much there. And boy, if you want to have a quarterback run, you'd rather see him the one running. Pugh was there rather than Gibson in a gain of 3.
Yeah, he's not quite the slasher and runner and juker that Gibson is. He just chugs ahead. Lee wraps him up from behind, and here comes that other second down upcoming. They got to keep them in second and long, third and long to have a chance to get the ball back quickly.
Second down, Ralston Dews is checked out. Fred Donnell, who's played a well of a game at that tackle position, is in for Robert E. Lee, much lighter but pretty quick. 3-man front for Lee. Hood trying to get a corner over there. That's Dinkins. Here comes the shotgun. Here comes the blitz. Gardner throw incomplete to Davion Green. 3rd down and 7. Big play here. 6:37 to go, fourth quarter at Sprague Stadium in Dallas on KTBB with Randy Johnson and Craig Smoke. Jamie Lynn on the sideline. Engineers Mike LaRue, producers Justin Brinker. David Smoke with you, and it's 2-0 Kimball. And here's 3rd down and 7 at the Lee 47.
Here's something you ask. If Kimball doesn't get the first down and has a 4th and say 5 or 6 or 2, do they go for it? I'm sure they probably do.
I think they do.
Yes.
I think they do. I think they have confidence in their defense and probably confidence in Tayshawn Gibson, who this time lines up in the slot. Gardner, the quarterback, in the shotgun. Carranza with the snap. Lee brings the blitz. He's in trouble. Can he get away? Throws it past. Caught at the 40. First down, 35. Breaks a tackle, 30. Fumbles. Picked up by Deakins. Chris Deakins recovers the fumble. Robert E. Lee gets a huge break. What a great play by Gardner to avoid the pressure. Davion Green caught it. Down to the 30-yard line, fumbled right into the hands of the sophomore Chris Dinkins, and Lee has life at their 32-yard line.
Well, they make the pass completion. It gains about 18 yards down the field. Then he took a hit from a couple Red Raiders, and Dinkins was one of them. The ball pops free. Dinkins picks it up and tries to run and just finally falls down, and Lee gets a huge turnover, David.
So
huge.
Can the Red Raiders offensively take advantage of yet another play by the defense from their 32-yard line? Day-Day Brown, the lone setback. They were on the stretch. Day-Day doesn't have any room. Flag down anyway. Breaks a tackle into the secondary. And after all of that, he picked up 3 yards on a holding call against John Landis. 6:14 to go. Immediately was thrown by the umpire as Day-Day Brown ran the stretch. This will cost the Red Raiders 10 yards. Day-Day Brown, the lone setback. They bring the blitz. Wagner wants to set up a screen. He throws it to Brown. In the backfield, he loses 5 more. And that thing could have been picked off by a guy in a purple jersey as well. Jomo McDuff. They tried, and Wagner didn't even have time to really even set up the fake. And a loss of 4 more yards.
They're backing up instead of going forward.
And there's no time to back up because
none
that
at all.
clock is down to 5:30. It is 2nd down and 22 yards. Robert E. Lee is trailing 2-0 on the road at Sprague Stadium. 4 receivers, 3 wide to the right. Wagner, wide receiver screen, caught, 25-30, 35-40, down the sideline midfield. Look at him go, 40, 30, down inside the 30-yard line. Brian Runnels. That, my friends, was perfectly executed, and the fastest player on this team just made a play, Jamie Lynn.
Yeah, great pass to the outside there. Runnels gets great help on this right sideline by his wide receiver teammates as they clear out of space. Runnels doesn't have to make a move at all, just uses that speed to get to the outside. Very well executed by the Robert E. Lee offense.
55 yards. Robert E. Lee at the Kimball 27. Wagner with the throw. Great blocks by the wide receivers. Day-Day Brown in motion. They hand it off to Mitchell up the middle. 25 leans forward. Down to the 22. Now Lee with field position. Lee with the ball. Lee down by 2 with 4:40 to go in the fourth quarter. Every wide receiver had to throw the perfect block, and Runnels showed that blazing speed and tightrope down the sideline.
Yeah, once he got outside, boy, he has got some wheels, doesn't he? He's got that 4.3 speed, and we saw it on exhibit on that play.
This all started after Chris Dinkins recovered what was a first down pass. Davion Green fumbled the ball. Day-Day Brown in motion. They give it to Jamal, left tackle, first down 20. Up the middle. Here comes a flag after he broke free. This is coming back. The umpire throws it after Jamal had crossed inside the 20, and this is all going to come back and cost Lee 10 yards. Jamal was down to the 10, would have been first and goal, but the umpire throws the flag at a holding call against Robert E. Lee with 4:13 to go in the fourth quarter.
You can't have those kind of things happen, and the back judge throws the flag as its play's coming right at him, and Lee is going to have to overcome even more adversity.
That was from the umpire.
Right, pardon me, yeah.
It was from the umpire. Jamal had busted loose. The flag came down after he had gotten into the open, but it's a penalty, and you have to overcome them. 4:12 to go, clock running. Second down and 14. Also now just on the edge of Joseph Cleaver. Offset eye, Wagner the quarterback, play action bootleg, wants to run. Throws the pass, Jamal Mitchell dropped it, nope, it was tipped away. Luke just did not give him enough lead time. It was tipped away that time by DeMarcus Allen and Cordero Postel, and Mitchell had to kind of do a Willie Mays. It was over his head, tipped away. Good defensive play, and here, my friends, is third down and 14. Where's the flag? There's no breeze. Cleaver kicked a 45-yard field goal against Euless Trinity to give Lee a 10-7 lead. This will be right on the edge if they don't pick up any yardage here. Offset eye, in motion is Franklin. Luke Wagner, play action, in trouble, sets up the middle screen. Day-Day Brown got room at the 25, cuts it back to the 20, close to a first down at the 17-yard line. Just a little bit short of the first down, which now brings up a huge decision for Mike Owens. A yard short of the first down inside the 18-yard line, a gain of 13 yards.
13 yards, David. Beautifully executed. He had pressure right in his face. I'll tell you what, he had Benny right on top of him. And just nice little dump pass.
They bring out Joseph Cleaver. Lee will call timeout with 3 minutes and 21 seconds to go. It is fourth down and a yard. It is just inside the Kimball 18-yard line, and Day-Day Brown tried to twist his way to the 17 and came up just short. And now Joseph Cleaver, who kicked the field goal to win the opening game against Lake Highlands. This would be an approximately 35-yard field goal. Down to the snap, which will come from John Landis, the senior. Sean Rainey is the punter who will kneel at the Kimball 25-yard line. Joseph Cleaver will attempt what is a 35-yard field goal. From the left hash mark, 3:21 to go. Lee is down 2-0. The snap from Landis will come from the 18. Rainey snap, hold, kick, long enough, and the kick is good. 3:16 to go, and Joseph Ice in his veins Cleaver has given Lee the 3-2 lead as we go to the bottom of the ninth inning, or lately the fourth quarter. Back in 1 minute. Robert E. Lee appeared to have a first and goal at the 10, but it was called back by a holding penalty, and they still were able to get just enough on the Day-Day Brown screen as Joseph Cleaver kicks a 35-yard field goal. It is now 3-2. Robert E. Lee, the pooch kick. Kimball will field at their 30-yard line and now cut it up against the grain, and they're knocked down at the 37 with 3 minutes and 11 seconds to go. It all goes back on the shoulders of the lead defense, which has played lights out tonight. Joseph Cleaver kicked the 45-yard field goal last week to give the team a lead, as Skylar Talley was on the tackle as well as Ubong David kicked the 45-yard field goal to give Lee the lead against Trinity. He kicked the field goal to beat Lake Highlands. He's just given Lee the lead 3-2 here in 3:11 to go in the fourth quarter. They will send Tayshawn Gibson in the slot far side along with Tremont Robinson and Darrell Washington. Lee's Again, confusion with their secondary. They throw the wide receiver screen to Washington, bounces outside and does not get away from Jermel Jones. Robert E. Lee is still having confusion on who is supposed to be on the field. And they had a defensive back who came out, and they had to push him back on the field. Junior Kane luckily was pushed back on the field by a coach. 2nd and 9, Kimball, as he got out of bounds. Clock continues to run. What a wacky game. 2nd and 10, Kimball, clock runs, 2:40. 3-2, Robert E. Lee in the 4th quarter in Dallas. Gardner back to throw. Sets up to a right over the middle, Washington. Intercepted! Chris Dinkins, we have a star in the making. Robert E. Lee is a star in the making. He's a 6'1", 190-pound sophomore who's recovered a fumble and intercepted a pass. And Jamie Lent, did you see him break on that ball?
Yeah, what a terrific job playing center field out there for the Robert E. Lee defense. You could see where Gardner was going. He read the quarterback's eyes, makes a great play on the ball, great break on the ball. Shows he's got some nice hands as well.
Wow. He had to go for either the pick or a pass that was going to be caught about the Lee 45, and the sophomore, I've heard Randy Huffstickler rave about this kid. 1st and 10, Lee at their 47. Offset I. Here's the handoff, Wagner to Day Brown, bounces it outside, skips out near midfield. Got about 3 or 4. All you want to do here is get a first down or 2, which of course that may be asking for quite a bit. Kimball calls 2 timeout, 2:18 to go. Randy, the sophomore, Chris Dinkins, all of a sudden might be the player of the game if they win this one.
Well, he comes up big, reads the quarterback's eyes, as Jamie mentioned, and just stepped right in front of the intended receiver, beat him to the ball clearly, and makes a great pick and nose for the football and a huge play. And I never got to mention Lee went 7 plays and 50 yards a minute ago, by far their longest drive of the night.
Well, just in time. Chris Dinkins, playing the deep safety, stepped in front of Washington over the middle and intercepted Joshua Gardner. And if Lee can pick up a couple of first downs, Kimball has 2 timeouts remaining. Lee has a chance to somehow escape with a baseball-type score, but this is long from over. Split backs this time behind Wagner at the 49. Wagner, this is Jamal Mitchell. Cuts it outside, breaks a tackle, keeps going into Kimball territory at the 47-yard line. He got 4 yards. DeMarcus Allen, the senior linebacker, makes the stop for the Kimball Knights. It's now 3rd down and 4. Timeout, Kimball. They have 1 remaining. And basically, because of Kimball's lack of a kicking game, there would be no question if it's 4th down, you punt the football back down it, but you just make sure you just wrap up Tayshaun Gibson anytime he moves.
Well, you kick it away from him is what you're doing. You don't let him touch the football because he's so dangerous. And Lee right now, though, concentrate on getting a first down here on a big 3rd down play, because that's going to take the clock down well inside a 1 minute. And Kimball only has the 1 timeout left now as they've taken their 2nd of the half.
2:10 to go in the 4th quarter. Jamal Mitchell is the deep back for Robert E. Lee. 3rd down and 4. Lee needs the 43-yard line. Day Brown is in the slot for the Red Raiders. This could be a ball where he takes the reverse on a handoff. But what you have to do, Randy, if you come up short or if you get the first down, you want to stay in bounds either way. Still not yet set. Referee is talking to Mike Owens over on the far sideline. Robert E. Lee has overcome a critical holding penalty that looked like had given them the drive at a first down and goal at the 10. They eventually settle for the 35-yard field goal from the senior Joseph Cleaver. 3rd down from the Kimball 47. Offset I. In motion, Day Brown. They hand off Jamal, left tackle, first down, 40. Inside the 40, no flags. How about that? First down at the 38. Jamie Lent.
Yeah, great block on the left side there. Dews and Trevius Jones both put their men on their backs, and a big first down for the Robert E. Lee offense.
And Kimball, Randy, has no timeouts remaining.
Wow, that's huge, and just a great surge from Lee. They said, you know what, we've had enough of this tonight. We're going to push you back, and they did for a nice big 3rd down game.
And because Kimball has to guess a little bit, Day Brown in motion, they have to respect him. Jamal Mitchell out of the game. Lee will run double tight set. They run the stretch to Day Brown at the 40, cuts it up the 35 to the 30, breaks a tackle, outside the 20. He's going to go at the 20. Can he beat him at the 15? Day Brown, touchdown, Robert E. Lee! Touchdown, Day Brown, and there's a flag down at the 40-yard line. You've got to be kidding me. 37 yards, as pretty a run as you'll ever see, and a flag trails it at the 40-yard line.
That's not too hard to believe, really, frankly.
And they'll bring it back. What it did do was waste a lot of time.
Yep.
The little sophomore broke a tackle, went down on his arm to keep his balance, and the umpire, as he broke free, holding against Robert E. Lee, will knock him back to the 40. Now, here's the deal, guys. They have no timeouts remaining, Kimball. It's first down. Robert E. Lee should be able to take the knee and should not have to run any kind of play other than taking the knee right here. They'll wind the clock because the clock will wind. That's too bad because that was a highlight tape play. Luke Wagner with two running backs right next to him, double tight set, minute 10. Takes the snap, goes to a knee at the 49-yard line. Down with a minute. They will not have to take another snap until there's under 40 seconds to go in the game. And Robert E. Lee has now overcome a holding penalty on their last drive to kick a gut-wrenching field goal with Joseph Cleaver, and they just overcame losing a 37-yard touchdown run to Day Brown as the umpire, Bernard Johnson, threw the holding call on the trail of the play. Second down and 22. Wagner, the sophomore, takes the snap, takes the knee, should not have to take another snap. Down inside 30. And with 25 seconds, they will not have to take another snap. And the sophomore, Luke Wagner, go back to the sideline wide receiver screen. Brian Runnels makes the play of the game with the great blocking downfield, but it's Chris Dinkins, the fumble recovery. Chris Dinkins, the interception. And Lee finds a way somehow to get just enough offensively. Why are they taking a snap? They don't have to. Ball game is over. Luke Wagner, my man, is 1-0 as a starter at Robert E. Lee, and it'll be interesting to hear from Lee head coach Mike Owens. Wow. 3-2. I have never done a 3-2. I've done a 6-0, but I've never done a 3-2.
We've only had one other of those, and this one, I'll tell you what, Lee overcame adversity, and they are able to pull it off, and Kimball's defense really gave them a great fight tonight, and just two really good defensive teams on the field. Lee's able to make a couple of big offensive plays when they need to with Runnels and company.